We're going to talk about Proverbs and what it means to each one of you guys. I'm going to read it from the Message Bible. It's an alliteration, not interpretation, but it's a good one, and I like it. I think you will too. It starts out, wise sayings of Solomon. So right there they're telling you who wrote Proverbs. And Solomon was the son of David. His mother was Bathsheba, and he got a lot of his dad's wisdom because he asked for it. Hallelujah. A manual for living. These are the wise sayings of Solomon, David's son, Israel's king. Write down so we'll know how to live well and right, to understand what life means and where it's going. A manual for living, for learning what's right and just and fair, to teach the inexperienced the ropes and give our young people a grasp on reality. There's something here also for seasoned men and women. Still a thing or two for the experienced to learn, fresh wisdom to probe and penetrate. The rhymes and reasons of wise men and women. That's Proverbs 1:1. What's that tell us? This is for today, guys. This is, maybe it's in the Old Testament, but it's for today. Right? Our wisdom to understand what life means and where it's going. Wow. Think about that. That's future in our time slot. A manual for living. This is how you live if you'll follow these instructions. For learning what's right and just and fair. Woo! How many people could use that?
Well, everybody.
Absolutely. To teach the inexperienced how to live. And give our young people a grasp on reality.
Yes.
This should be taught in every university, in every high school, in every junior high school, in every grade school in the world.
Yes.
For our young kids to grow up with a foundational truth. And what are their school systems doing? Trying to take it away. Trying to eliminate God. There's something here also for seasoned men and women. They're talking about the pastors and the teachers. Still a thing or two for the experienced to learn. Fresh wisdom to probe and penetrate. The rhymes and reasons of wise men and women. Why is President Trump doing what he's doing? Why is the economy of the United States come out of the dumpster? Why is it record gains in the stock market? Plus he cut taxes and the economy is zooming. How is President Trump doing all this? And that's just the first chapter.
Hopefully he'll have the second too.
Sir?
I hope he has the second chapter too.
Oh, yeah, he
For the next one.
yeah. Now we're going to read a couple of them, but I want your input. How do you see this first chapter? How can you incorporate what I have read to you in your life, and that you can share it with people? I already know Chris is a teacher of the church, so I know what he does. How about you, Jim? How can you relate this to other people that ask you for information?
Well, they have to ask for it.
Of course. These are the questions that are going to come up when you start teaching. He's already been teaching forever, but he still gets the same stuff.
Yeah.
But you've got to look at it with a different point of view than the average carnal Christian. You have a deeper meaning on the spiritual side, and then you have to transition the spiritual side to the soulish realm, and then impart it to the five physical senses. Because spirit has nothing to do with the soul. spirit, spirit. That's why we have to be born again, to understand that the Bible is written sometimes in the spirit, sometimes in the soul. It bounces back and forth. And that really confuses the crap out of most people. Most Baptist pastors don't understand that. Most Presbyterian pastors don't understand it. Most Methodists, no, they don't understand it. That it's written to the spiritual side and the carnality.
Both sides, absolutely.
No, they don't. They don't understand that.
Okay.
I don't know anybody that does. Other than Chris. He's learning, along with the rest of us. But you were never taught that the Bible was written spirit and, parts, times. We talk about spirit and part times, talk about soul, and things back and forth.
So maybe they're not taught about who they are.
No.
Or actually what they are.
No, they're not.
And then if you're born again, who you are.
Yes. It's all three. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Always works in three. Completion and the Spirit works in threes. It always will. It's numerical. Numerology has a lot to do with the spiritual world. But we always poo-poo it and we say, no. It's those tree huggers, the Scientology and all that. Yeah, look, all those religions are borrowing from God's truth. They're counterfeiting. They always do. That's what Satan's always done.
Yeah.
And until we understand that, we're subject to it. Hallelujah. Start with God. This is number 2.
What, Proverbs 2?
Yeah.
Oh.
Start with God, it says. Start with God. The first step in learning is bowing down to God. Now, what's that mean? Bowing down to God. It doesn't mean to get on your knees and bubba for 15 minutes and walk up stairs with glass and you're on your hands and knees. That's not what he's talking about. The first step of learning is bowing down to God. What's that mean? Make him first in everything. Everything. Every thought, every action. He's even first place over your family, over your wife and children.
Has to be.
Then you have to put him there. It's always going to be you and God. And God's above you. Look, we live in a body. We're separate. We're separate individuals. You're going to know you better than anybody in the world. You're going to communicate with you. You're going to sit down and talk with yourself. And you're going to die and get rid of this physical body in self. It's not be a group. You can't share it. It don't work that way. It's you about you. And nobody knows you, like I said, better than yourself. So, in that relationship is what God's looking for. That relationship of self. He's the only one that can come into you and join his spirit with yours. Nobody else can. You can't share your spirit with anybody else. One-on-one. That's becoming part of one. That's when you and Jesus become one. That's what I'm talking about. That's the sharing that he wants. You can't share that with anybody else. Now, if you go into the physical realm, that's different. When you have sex with your wife and it's mutual in love, you become one. Carnally, not spiritually. That's the difference. Only fools thumb their noses at such wisdom and learning. And there's a lot of fools out there that believe they're going to heaven. And they'll tell you you don't know what you're talking about when you discuss this with them. So, how do I know? I tried. so does some of you guys. You have too. And some people won't relate to it because they don't want to. They like their little world. They like being in their little rut. And they don't want to get out of it. It's comfortable. They found a comfortable spot. And as human beings, most of us want that comfort. What do you think people fight for the parking spot in front of the store? They don't want to walk. They don't want to expend the energy. Why do you think people will want to beat you to the red light so they can be first place?
Yeah.
They do that all the time.
Or
They'll run.
leave the doggone shopping cart in in the parking lots that go over 20 feet and put it up in the,
Oh,
that
yeah.
drives me
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah, they don't want to,
And
they
it
don't,
hits your car.
Somebody be right, yeah.
yeah, they don't want to.
No, they're lazy.
Exactly,
That's it.
but that's the human nature. It's lazy, yes.
That's it.
But you see it everywhere, and
No,
this is.
that thing too, the laziness creeps into us as believers in the church, for sure.
Yes,
We have everything we need. It's, God's already done it. I tell people it is done because it is finished. Finished. But I think we get so in a routine. I don't know if I guess it boils down to just being pure lazy. We get such in a routine that we just don't, believe what we should believe and put the word into practice like we know or see, or just, I don't know. It's just, it creeps into the church as well that we can be lazy believers. And it is it's a tough thing to try to get out of that if you're stuck in a routine of a rut. I have a hard time trying to get people out of that. And myself too, because we all can get into it if we're not careful.
it's when the spirit is set on the sidelines and the soul takes over.
Yeah.
It's, the enmity is what? It's the natural mind.
Yeah.
And the natural mind, when it's in control, that's called idolatry, by the way, but when it's in control, everything you're going to do is to conserve energy. You turn lazy. And it's real easy to do it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Lord
it's
help
all
us.
in the church, yes. I mean, it's everywhere.
Especially for you, Chris.
Oh.
See, I can insulate myself because I don't have to hang around people who are constantly on the broad path
Yeah.
in the world's culture. I mean, they go into the world's culture, then they come out and go to church, back and forth. And you have to deal with them all the time. You see, I don't have to do that. And you don't have to do that.
No.
Well, I mean, you live with some folks who do, I understand. I mean, it's not 100%, don't get me wrong. But I don't want that on TV, that's a bunch of crap. See, it's easy for me to do that. But if I had your job, it would be easy to do that.
But it's okay.
This one,
You're there because God wants you.
Yeah, His grace is sufficient.
He's
to help
fulfilled.
us.
absolutely, yeah, it is.
But it's frustrating. For
Very
sure.
much so.
I asked Lloyd this earlier because I just got this on a Richard's tape as I was listening to it coming down here, and this just jumped out at me, and I wrote it down. And this statement that he made, and this is fun to do this. If you were to read this statement to your church and ask everybody in your church, when I say this statement, is that true or false to you? And then give them a time to think about it, and then ask them the results of that, true or false. I wonder what it would be. Listen to the statement. We are never waiting on God to do anything. Wow. I mean, they're just
Yeah, that's
never,
true.
never.
I would
Please.
hope, from what I've been teaching, that they would say, that's true.
Right, yeah.
That God's waiting on us just to believe, put into practice what He says, and just believe. And I would hope,
I would too.
there's not going to be the few, but I would hope that they would say, yeah, Christ has done everything.
Right, it's finished.
It's finished.
I've got friends of mine who, if I read this to them, they would say yes, and they would immediately go over to saying, well, we need to do this for spiritual warfare. I mean, they've just thrown their belief into the trash. You see what I'm saying? I mean, it's just like, so that's double-minded.
Yeah, it's idolatry, it's what they call it in the Old Testament, and it's idolatry. You're placing God over here, putting Him in timeout, and you're taking that commitment of spiritual warfare and putting it in His place.
In other words, if there's something, even though Jesus defeated these guys, there's still something, he left a little something going on here, we need to go fight those guys.
So yeah, we need to, I need to.
I know, the fight is right here. There's a constant fight here.
It's the people also in the church have to deal with a lot, especially at the beginning of the year. It's about fasting. Fasting's
Oh, I know, my wife has been into
it's
this
about,
stuff.
fasting. And,
Exactly right.
And I have no problem with fast. Fasting's great. It does some great things for the body. But,
Yes.
but I told everyone, and I even made it sure on the outline, you don't fast to add to what Jesus has done.
Beautiful, that's
You
great.
don't add to. We
beautiful.
fast in response to what He's done. And when I studied the Word,
But see,
fasting
fast
does
is
one
fasting.
thing. It silences this voice of the flesh that is screaming, so that you can hear yourself more clearly spiritually to be reminded of who you already are in Christ. That's the way I present it.
You're putting God back on the
I like
throne.
that.
You're putting God back on the throne.
Yeah,
So,
you know, it's,
just because your body's hollered, I'm hungry, feed me.
yeah,
Well, that's the same thing as Satan saying, hey,
right.
there's no difference in it. But it's
Right.
you being in control. Once it's the ego controlling you.
Who's that big pastor in Gainesville that does this every year?
Jensen.
Yeah, he's the guy. He'll come out there and say, hey, you do this, 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 and this, and then God will. And that's totally
No,
bull.
God will not do anything. God's already done it, as you already know.
And I just think it gives us, it reminds us of our position,
Yes.
Right.
you know, and that's the way I present it.
Well, that's the way it should be
You
done.
know, that it reminds you of what you've already got.
Right.
Because your flesh is not screaming so loud. You know,
See, that
it's not.
makes perfect sense.
Plus, physically, the body needs to fast twice a day to eliminate all the
Well,
pressure in it anyway.
Yeah.
So it's a double,
Well, that's the
it's a double
perfect
purpose. Yes.
See, the three parts of us, spirit, soul, together is the heart, body here. See, in heaven, they don't have a body, so they don't have to fast. Because it's the corruptible part is what you have to put in a fast. Why?
Yes.
Because it can do screwed up things,
Well,
which the spirit can't do if you're born again.
and you're taking control back from the who? The soul. And giving it back to God. See, it's all about authority. Who's in authority?
Boy, that's a great, oh gosh, you're so right.
Much like you said, ego.
Gosh.
Yeah, it's the ego.
Don't that mean edge God out we talked about?
Yes, yeah. It's idolatry or whatever, but it is idolatry. You're replacing God with self. And it can creep in everywhere. I used to say, hey, I fast between every meal. When they start giving that crap about fasting and, well, you know, it makes God closer. Now, God can't get any closer. He's inside of you, and that's crap.
Well, you're fasting driving on the interstate.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. I'm fasting right now. But and if you'll really look at it, you are. See, you replaced feeding your face with God.
That's true.
And I think too, fasting can just be not just food.
Yeah. Oh, it can be
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
Yes.
That
Anything
controls-
that wants to take Jesus' place in I fast.
I'm gonna, instead of telling this driver that just cut me off what I think of,
Oh.
I'm going to choose to, like Jesus did, ignore offenses.
I send lifeline love. If I don't, I'll cuss them. So.
Well, I have to start just by ignoring it, and then whether I won't do anything more for him later on, I'll
Oh,
decide that.
that's a weakness that I still have. And I
Me too.
shouldn't. I know, but I still do.
Well,
I scream at them.
You know why we dislike that so much is because this person, because of their idiot attitude, has now put us in danger.
Yeah.
And if it was just their idiot attitude, and we were observing that without being in danger, it would make, I feel sorry for this guy, but okay. But now, I mean, what if my little son was, or my grandson was living,
Right.
you know, that's what we look at anyway.
Yeah, it's their ego. This will replace God. See, their wants outweigh your needs.
Right.
They're being selfish. That's what the drive-through window's all about. It's just conditioning the populace so they don't have to wait. But that's all flesh. All that's flesh. And we shouldn't be there. That shouldn't control us in anything that we do. But it still does because we live in a Luciferian doctrine environment. But we don't have to. That's what I want you guys to understand. You don't have to. You get to make your choice. What is my intention about this choice? Put God first.
Well, that's a intention, that's a good thing.
Oh, it's huge.
Wow.
It's huge. Your intention starts out in your belief. You got to have intention where you believe.
You know, I look back to my born again experience, my intention was to accept Jesus that day, right there.
Yeah.
I mean, so you can look back to that, to the beginning of that.
And that's the beginning. That's your first step. And who took it? You did.
That's right.
God was always there.
Well, and that's because, here's another question that would be for a church. Who has sovereignty over your heart, you or God?
You.
Of course it's me.
Yes.
What do you think most Baptists would say to that?
Oh,
I mean, I don't know the answer to that, but it wouldn't be 100% me.
yeah. No. And if you're Catholic, you got to come to me anyway.
Gosh.
Because you can't talk to God. You're unworthy.
Right.
Yeah.
Can't even read it.
That's crap. Hallelujah.
Roger.
Okay, pay close attention, friend, to what your father tells you.
We still in 2?
It's kind of like 2, I don't know how
It's
to
1:8,
Yeah, it's 8, yeah.
Oh.
we're seeing.
Yeah, these don't go with the they don't do
Oh, they
chapter
don't?
1, 2, they just.
I thought you were in Proverbs 2 already.
Excuse me. These are like one-line sentences, so. it's
Yeah, but what?
Chapter 8. I mean, chapter 8, I'm gonna read chapter 8 through chapter 19.
Oh,
Is the way this,
are you sure you don't mean verse?
I'm sorry. I don't think so. It doesn't show.
On mine message, it's we're in Proverbs 1, verse 8.
Oh, 1, I'm over at 2.
If you're doing pay a close friend what your father tells you.
Yeah,
That's how it broke it down on my phone.
and that's the way it is here too.
Oh, okay.
Well, I've only got,
We're in verse 8, chapter 1.
okay, I've only got Amplified or NAS, what is NASB? What is that? NASB, you remember that?
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's not my favorite.
Like, pay close attention, friend, to what your father tells
Ah,
you.
yes, here it is.
It depends on what your father tells you.
Okay, it definitely does, yes, it does.
And that's about how far I need to go there. Because my father didn't tell me much of nothing that was worth anything.
Well, this is from a guy whose father was David.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. My father believed in violence, and that's how he settled all his scores. Never forget what you have learned at your mother's knee. What I learned at my mother's knee is not good if you want to be a Christian. So it's about manipulation and her being the center of her attention. Wear the counsel like flowers in your hair. Talk to the women. Like rings on your fingers. If they say, let's go out and raise some hell, let's beat up some old man, mug some old woman, let's pick them clean and get them ready for their funerals. We'll load up on top, quality, loot. We'll haul it home by the truckload. Join us for a time of your life. With us, it's shame and it's share and share alike. Oh, friend, don't give them a second look. Don't listen to them for a minute. They're racing to a very bad end. Hurrying and ruin everything they've laid hands on. Nobody robs a bank with everybody watching. Yet, that's what these people are doing. They're doing it themselves. They're doing themselves in.
So this is fun. Now that's the Message
Yeah.
Bible? Okay, you know how many words you just did? And listen what and this is from the Amplified. My son, if sinners entice you, do not consent.
Yeah. That's why I like the Message
It's
sometimes.
like a lot more words.
Yeah, well, it's good for more information. Sometimes.
I like to do not consent though.
Absolutely. It's all about your consent.
That's what they're doing today. These young people, these millennials, they all consent so they can all walk in the same direction.
Yeah.
They can all be part of the crowd and be accepted.
Remember, the masses are asses. Oh, yeah, they ain't never gonna change.
That's pretty good.
It's been that way since I was a kid, and it's even more now that I'm 70 years old. They're still asses. They're looking for somebody to tell them what they need,
Yeah.
and they'll follow, and they'll do whatever they do. Hitler did. Mussolini did. Stalin did. And you go all the way back to the Caesars of Rome, they did. It's the same, it's nothing new. It's the same stuff. They're being taught through Luciferian doctrine, through the school systems. It started way back in the 30s. It's really farther than that, but I don't have to get into the history of this. But it's always been that way. But it's more prevalent now because why? Because we've elected people that didn't put Jesus first in our government. And you can see it today.
And when you do that, they actually get the power from the people who elected them.
Yeah.
And it amplifies their power.
Yes.
Which is why Hitler was able to do all the crap he was able to do.
Yes. Exactly. That's why he was defeated, because it wouldn't work, because you can't fight three fronts. Period. It doesn't work. Still doesn't work today. But, you know, that was, his ego got a hold of him. And plus, they were in the Luciferian doctrine really big. They were searching the world for antiques and religious objects and all this other stuff, because they believed in the occult. And the occult is nothing more than what it's inside your head. It's not physical. They go boo, 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 and the spirit comes. That's crap. It don't work that way. But we've been taught it does. And we've had television shows and movies and all this stuff about the occult and how powerful demons are and all this and that. And it's not. It's what do you believe? It's always going to come down to you. You're the most powerful creation that God created. You. You are.
True. Exactly right. And the stuff that individuals can do without being born again is amazing.
Jesus said, I created rain to rain on the just and unjust.
Right.
So yes, they have the same power that we do, and they don't have to have Jesus. But the difference is, when we have Jesus, we put him first place. When you don't, then you put an idol there, idolatry, and it's usually you.
Well, it's going to fall, they're going to lose everything.
Absolutely, yeah, because it's only carnal.
Right, exactly.
And when they go to heaven, or they don't go to heaven,
That's another.
when they change bodies or whatever, yes, you can't destroy energy. I'm sorry, you can't be destroyed. We're all energy beings, that's who we are. That's why it's paramount that you guys get out in the sun when the sun's up, to replenish the physicality of your body. Plus, it also gets into us, and we won't go there. Hallelujah. Let's see. Truckload. With those that share and share alike. Oh, friend, don't give them a second look. Don't listen to them for a minute. They're racing to be very bad, to a very bad end. Hurrying to ruin everything they lay their hands. Running everything that they lay their hands on. Everything that you put your hands on. And if it's for you, what have you done? You've ruined it. So it's not for sharing it. You're not putting seed time and harvest, law of reciprocity out. You're doing it for self. And when you do it for self, guess what? There is no press down, shaking together, run over. Men give into your bosom. It's not there. You're doing it for yourself. Once again, that's idolatry. Yet, what these people are doing, they're doing themselves in. When you grab all you can get, that's what happens. The more you get, the less you are. So you can be worth $1 billion, trillion on this place, but if you don't have God, Jesus, in the first place of your life, it's meaningless. It has no value.
I think you could change, the other extreme of that is, the more you get, the less you are. The more you give, the more you are.
Yes.
Basically what it is.
And you can, we're not just talking money.
No.
Don't get that out of there. It's not. It's anything that you hold
Unless you watch TV
precious. Anything that you hold with value.
That's good.
See, that's what he's talking about. Open the door. Give them a drink of water.
Right.
Help old ladies take their groceries and put them in the car. I mean, just anything like that. Let somebody get in front of you. Even though they were zooming and they were going to get in front of you anyway without, we'll slow down. Let them. That's what we're talking.
It's all a seed.
Yes. And the fruition in that seed could be within minutes. We don't know. It doesn't take years. Like they taught me when I was stupid enough to go to Sunday school. That's wrong. It really, you know what the manifestation of that depends on? You.
That's because all things are possible to him that believe.
Yeah. What's your intention?
As long as you believe the right thing.
Yeah. And most of us don't. We think there's got to be manifestation to show that we're worthy. And that's crap. But that's what we've always been taught. It has nothing to do with it. We live in the eternal now. Mentally, we can say that. In our heart, we don't believe it most of the time, unfortunately. We don't. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. We bounce back and forth. We waver. That's what it's called. But as it doesn't have to be that way. We've got Lady Wisdom. Lady Wisdom goes out in the street and shouts. At the town center, she makes her speech. That's the center of the town. That's what he's talking about. Where's all the energy in a circle? And this is quantum crap. The center of the circle is where all the energy is at. That's just the way it is. That's why they have domes and what else? They top a special building with a steeple, like you see church steeples and domes, pyramids and all that. Well, it generates energy. That's the center. That's the center of the circle. That's why the center of the dome is the most powerful. That's why the center of the pyramid is powerful. The steeple in a church, which is just an oblong pyramid, that's where the center comes. That's the energy. That's the natural. That's quantum theory. It works. That's where it comes from. And that's what he's talking about here. Well, he's talking about both things, but that's why he says she takes her stand at the town center, the center of the town. She makes her speech. That's where all the energy's at. In the middle of the traffic, she takes her stand. She's in the middle, in the center again. That's where all the power is. At the busiest corner, she calls out. So that person that's doing all that is in the center. It's where all the energy is. Physical energy is coming there. Recharging her mammalian battery is right there. It's in the center. Physically, I mean, but it's also talking spiritually. But most of these people, they're talking physically.
You know, and you're right, I think the next verse is the 22nd one.
Yes.
We're at.
Yes.
That's really an amazing statement here. How long, O naive ones, will you love being simple-minded and undiscerning? So these people who are lost actually love that. I mean, they're on the broad path because they love it.
Yeah.
That's what that's saying.
It's part of their walking in a rut, not changing. You know the difference in a funeral plot and a rut, a gravesite and a rut? Gravesite has a beginning and an end, a rut doesn't. The rut's forever.
Forever.
And that's what they're doing. They're in these ruts. It says in the message, says, simpletons, how long will you wallow in ignorance?
Yeah.
Cynics, how long will you feed your synthesis? Idiots, how long will you refuse to learn? I love that. About face, I can reverse your life. That's a military, about face.
Yeah, that's the change direction.
Yes, about face, or repent. Do you remember that when you were marching on the grinder? About face, march.
Do I remember? Gee.
I mean, I did that for weeks on end.
Our ROTC was so huge in Florida. We had 80 squads of 10 men each.
Wow.
And I was my squad commander. We had a competition of all 80. We won, I mean, first, and we got to ride with the football team and march at halftime all over the place.
Wonderful.
Isn't that amazing? And I mean, I still remember those days. And we were really good. I remember all that. Yeah. Left, right, forward march, all that crap.
Yeah.
All that malarkey.
Yeah.
But we were pretty good.
Well, that was to get you to think of one. That's what we're for.
So you're good.
Yeah.
Do it
That way
together.
you wouldn't ask questions, you just follow. Of course, back then they were shooting at you and it was good to follow. Doesn't work that way in real life. Let's see, about face, I can revise your life. Look, I'm ready to pour out my spirit on you. I'm ready to tell you all I know. As it is, I've called but you've turned a deaf ear. I have reached out to you, but you've ignored me. All of this great information, this beautiful knowledge and wisdom that's trying to be poured out to the people, look what's happening. They decide not to.
And it's, you know, these are amazing, these Proverbs. It's just, I'm looking at these next verses down here, and there's a part of it that says that God will actually laugh at you when you call out to him. And that's the point where they get to where they are not going to accept him. They refuse to.
That's the carnality. See, that's the ego.
That's the result of it.
Yes.
If you don't change,
Yeah.
that's where you're headed.
Yeah. Your ego will control your life until you go to the brink. And some people will.
Then you'll be lost.
Oh, yeah. Maybe. It depends on if you're between there and the gates of hell. You know, we can't.
I'm talking about being locked in your sins.
Okay.
When it's over.
That's
It's over.
Yeah. No,
It's okay.
But when we come out of the mama's womb, our ego is running our lives. That's part of self-preservation, and we really don't know anything about nothing for a couple of months until we start getting our eye-hand coordination as a baby. Some kids get quicker than others. But you've got to remember, when you come out of your mama womb, 70% of your programming is in fear. So 30% of it's not. 70% of it is. And that's what do our whole life is try to get rid of that 70% fear. And a lot of that fear is subconsciously put into you. You don't even know it consciously. And we say, oh, I live conscious all the time. No, you live conscious 5% of the time. 95% of the time, your life's run by your subconscious. And you don't even know that.
And it was decided by people who decided it for you when you were really young as a child.
Yeah. When it's a very emotional situation and a thought is created in that situation because it's so emotional, it goes directly into your subconscious mind. And you believe it. And you won't even know it. And you'll get, well, you're just like your dad. No, I'm not. Oh, and then say I am. Because I did that. But that's how it finally dawned on me, yeah, you are a dumbass. You just did what your dad did. You're going to settle it with your fist. Well, you can't always do that. Today, it's not like growing up in Oklahoma and Georgia. Everybody carries a gun here. Back then, they did when I was growing up. It was best man. You know, I beat on you a while, you beat on me a while, and we see who's and falls. But it ain't that way. And it should be that way anyway. It should be in love. Because when you start beating somebody up, it's fear. Believe it or not, it's fear.
I believe that.
That's why it's so important to love everybody. Even the people you don't like, you still love the person. You don't have to like their actions, but you still got to love the person. Because you remember, everybody's created in the image of God. Homosexuals, they don't matter. Murderers, rapists, they're all made in the image of God until they decide not to be.
So you just justified what Jim Dobson did with Ted Bundy.
Yeah.
I mean, there are people they're Christians who will say, well, you should have just ignored him, let him go to hell. But Dobson couldn't do that. He had to offer him the salvation of Jesus, which, according to Dobson, he took. He could be saved.
Yeah.
Even though his murdering could have put many girls in hell.
Yes.
You know, that's...
Because the children that he killed didn't have a personal relationship with God. Because if they had, he wouldn't have done it.
Exactly.
So, yeah, is it his fault? Yeah, but it's also responsibility lies on them.
But the bottom line is, if you accept it as the blood enough, oh yeah. Oh yes.
And I don't like a lot of things that Dobson has done or taught, but that one thing was right on.
It's true.
But that's all that matters, is the love.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to do that. It's very hard for me.
Well, I think we could say that Dobson loved Bundy at that moment.
Oh, yeah.
Because if he didn't, he wouldn't have offered him the
No.
way to salvation. I mean, you don't.
I agree with that, yes.
Yeah,
It
so,
was all about love, and that's what we're supposed to do with everybody.
Right.
And I'm not,
I agree.
and I need to,
I agree.
and I'm trying.
I mean, it's hard for me to see
Yeah.
me offering Chuck Schumer salvation, but I would. You know, I mean, it's just.
Just like when Obama, you know, he's got all this criminal stuff and the FISA thing is coming out, and then, you know, he deliberately tried to sabotage Trump, and he recorded all this, and he was trying to run America into the dirt, and, you know, was giving away money.
True,
And
true, true.
Everything that he did as a child of not God,
Right.
the Luciferian doctrine. But,
Right, here it is.
and here's the big but, the one that you don't want to smell, but it is there. We still love him. We have to love him.
Well, we love him because of the first commandment.
Yes.
And because if we understand the first, the second is, now we love ourselves because he loved us. And because I love myself, now I can love this Obama guy. And if he asks me for salvation, I'll tell him exactly the road that he has to take,
It's all in harmony.
which is just to believe.
Yeah, it's all in harmony. It's in harmony. It's in balance. And that's what it's all about. The whole universe, this life that we call life, this existence, our universe, everything that's made into all the universes that God said life be, he created it all, it still has to balance.
But you have to love him enough not to pat him on the back and say everything's going to be okay.
No.
You better love him enough to tell him that the answer is Jesus.
Yes.
Nothing else.
Well, see, that's not real love.
Right.
That's false. And that's why people try to get you to do something for them. That's your friend that came to the meeting over there, that they brought money, that's what he does.
Oh, yeah.
See, he uses that against,
Yeah.
that's his falseness. That's what I saw in the energy field that he was.
In him, yeah.
Yeah, it's false. That's why his daughter's in prison, because she tried to live that way. It's false. All of it's false.
It is. Oh, absolutely.
There's no truth in any of it, and it's built out of fear. That's where it comes from.
True.
But can he be? Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
But
I
don't
mean, I've shared a lot of
use.
things with him over the years that he's allowed me to share with me. And I'm still, I mean, I don't know the man's heart. You know, we can't look inside that, but I would be surprised if he has accepted Jesus.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
But you can understand his intentions,
Yeah.
which turns into thoughts, which turns into action. That's the part that I read. The intentions. What is this intended to do? What is your action intending to do to me, or to your fellow man, or whatever? And it's always built on fear, of self-lack, of more. That's the world. That's in everything, in everybody. Everybody has a little bit of that in them. If you get into the flesh, if you live in the spirit and the eternal now, it's not there. It can't be, because it's false.
Well, we're going to fix that, Lord, when we leave our flesh.
Yeah, I know. I want to do it before.
I mean, the spirit's already fixed, but I mean.
No, yes, you're right, but I want to do it now. I know. See, you know what I call the body is an anchor.
You can. I mean, we have the power in us
Yes,
to
we
do
do.
it. That's true.
And anyway, it's there. We know it's there, and I'm grabbing the influence. That's why we're reading the wisdom.
This is good.
This is part of Proverbs. And it's a forgotten book in the Old Testament that I've seen most preachers overlook. And they say it's poo-poo because it's old. No, it's not. It's relevant. It's now. There's not a chapter in this Bible that's not relative to now. Eternal now. God didn't say I was a God of yesterday. He didn't say I was a God of today. And he didn't say I was a God of tomorrow. He says I'm the God now. Right. Now. Eternal now.
And he changes.
No, can't. Because it's now. See, that takes time to change it. He's now. There's no time, there's no energy, and there's no matter in now. Now is now. It's not a moment in time. It's now. And then, do we understand that? No. We can conceive it kind of because we've got a finite mind. But we can see it, and we can get seeing it better and better and better as we follow through. Hallelujah. And it takes discipline. You're out of the rut. See, you're on new ground. you're seeing a new light. You're getting more observant to the seed time and harvest, to the law of reciprocity. And that's what's so
Do they leave that in a lot now?
no. They do sometimes, but they forget it. And at that, I think we'll pick it up next week. That's 50 minutes, so.
Good.